Okay, so our next challenge, our next extension task is to create some sort of notification for when the player enters the checkpoint. Now, what you'll see is when you walk through your checkpoint, so wherever you have to find the checkpoint, mine's here, nothing happens. So, nothing happens in terms of telling the player they've entered the checkpoint. So, if I just play the game really quickly. So if I jump, and I jump again, and I jump through this, I jump through the checkpoint. If I kill myself now, or myself, I'm going to end up back on that checkpoint, which is great because that works. But how does the player know they've entered the checkpoint? So we need to work out how we're going to do that. So the way we do that is we edit our player respawn script. And we also add a new element within the user interface, the UI as well, which basically is a text, and that text is going to display on the screen for a set amount of time and say checkpoint activated. So what we'll do quickly is when we enter the spawn point, all we'll do is a debug log, so we basically know that the player's entered that checkpoint. So debug.log, player has entered the checkpoint. So now, when I walk through the checkpoint, I'll get a debug log. So if I just put the console on here, I will get a debug log to say I've entered that checkpoint. Okay, that's great for me as a developer, but what little good is that to a end user, because they're not going to know. They don't see this console, so whatever's in here, they'll never see it. So because they'll never see it, it's no good to the player if only the developer can see this console. So what we actually need to do is flash something up here or here in our game view to show that the checkpoint's been entered. So it's very, very simple. All we do is we go to the UD canvas, and it's hidden at the minute, so let's unhide the canvas. In the canvas, we've got our timer text, which we know about. Let's scale up now. So we have our timer text, which is fine. We know that works. But what we want to do is right click and add a new text element. So go to legacy and text. I'm going to hit F2 to rename this, and I just call it checkpoint text. And check point activated. Now I'm just going to leave it as default values. You can change the font color if you want. So if you come down to here, you can change the color. In fact, let's just change it to red or green. No, red will do. So let's change it to red. I'm going to center it and then just increase the font size. And obviously, as you can see, this has now disappeared because it's gone outside our border. So we just need to increase this. So increase the width. So I'm going to do 300 by 100, or let's make it 150, and let's make that 350. There you go. And then it's already centered in the game, which is fine. So the next step will be to actually initially hide this, because we don't want it on the game as soon as we start. If I have this unhidden, we start the game, it's always going to be there. That's no good. We want it to actually start hidden. Now there's two ways we can do this. We could do it in code, or we could use it and hide here. So we'll hide it here, and then we'll start editing our code. So to do that, we open up our player respawn script, and we will start adding some components. So we've already got the position to spawn up, which is from our previous iteration of this, and that was basically when we died, this is where we're going to respawn. Above that, we're going to do a serialized field, and this is a private text variable. So reference to the checkpoint text. Now you'll notice that it's red. It's got a red underline underneath it because it can't find them classes, so we need to make sure we are using Unity engine.ui. So inherit the UI classes. And then at the start, we're also I'm going to show you how to actually hide the text element in code as well. So we've hid it in the inspector here, so it's now off, but let's unhide this and actually do it in code instead. So here we can just say the checkpoint text dot game object dot set active is false. So the checkpoint text is disabled, so the actual game object is disabled. So not the text itself, but the game object that holds the text. So this game object here that's highlighted in hierarchy, that gets disabled. So essentially, when you start the game, it just does that. Okay, so coming back to the script, we're looking at the script as it is at the minute. When the player enters the fall zone, it gets a component and it disables the character controller, set the transform position to position spawn, and then re-enables the character controller. So that function remains in touch, that's fine. It's this function we need to concentrate on. So this is the function where we get the new position and we set that to the position to spawn at, and then we increment it by 3. We need to add some components to this. So we've got the debug log, we can get rid of that now, we don't need it. And all we're doing is we're going to do a start coroutine. So remember, the start coroutine is a countdown. So we're going to create a countdown. So start coroutine. I'm going to call this checkpoint activated. Let's make that a lowercase p. So checkpoint activated. And then it's highlighted, or it has a red line going underneath it. It's because we haven't made that function yet. So let's make the function. So it's IE numerator. Open close brackets, open close curly brackets, and then what we do is the checkpoint activated underscore checkpoint text dot game object dot set active is true. We do a yield, return a new, wait for seconds. I'm going to wait 2 seconds, and then checkpoint dot text dot game. Sorry, checkpoint text dot game object dot set active true. False, sorry, not true. So what's happening? Very simple. We're setting the game object to be active, waiting 2 seconds, disable the game object. And literally all we're doing is we're saying once you go through the checkpoint, this comes on. 1, 2, goes off. That's all that's happening in this script. It's very, very simple. So in order to get it to work, you need to drop down your character, go to the player capsule, and now you'll see on the player respawn, it now has the checkpoint text variable where you can add your your checkpoint text. So you just grab the checkpoint text and drag it over, and there it goes. And again, if I enable this, so you can see it, and then we actually start playing the game, straight away it would disable the text. So you see how it's disabled in the inspector and it's not shown on the screen. If I go through the checkpoint, it's now enabled it. 2 seconds later, it's disabled it. It's very, very simple. Now, what's happening is when you go through checkpoint activated, every time you die, you're re-going through that checkpoint. So, in a future video, we can fix that. It's something very minor, it's an easy fix, but as the extension task, research how you would disable that. So once you go through the checkpoint once, how can you disable that checkpoint to stop it from reactivating itself again? It's something very simple, and I will update that in another video. Thank you.